Today is a good day for Sony fans. The company has announced the latest models in its flagship lineup, the Xperia XZ2 and XZ2 Compact. Not only that, but it looks like the new phones are the biggest departure from Sony's long-running smartphone design we've seen in the last few years. They come with extra tall 2:1 screens, significantly reduced front bezels, the latest Snapdragon chipset, and some interesting HDR innovation in the camera department. Let's take a closer look to them in that video. Sony phones have been attracting equal parts love and hate with their unique, long-running design language, which involved a remarkably strict, rectangular shape, with considerable amounts of bezel area around the screen. With this year's Xperia XZ2 and XZ2 Compact, Sony is taking a step towards a more modern layout, featuring tall, 2:1 displays and way thinner frames. The rear panel, unlike in previous models, isn't flat, but has a pronounced curvature, making the XZ2 and XZ2 Compact look somewhat chubbier than their predecessors. Both handsets have Gorilla Glass 5 covered fronts to protect their screens, as well as matte metal frames, but the materials on the back differ a lot. The XZ2 flagship has a smooth glass rear panel, while the XZ2 Compact makes do with a frosted, reed, matte, plastic back. Available in liquid silver, liquid black, deep green and ash pink for the Xperia XZ2, and white silver, black, moss green and coral pink for the XZ2 Compact. Both models have fingerprint sensors mounted on the back, below the camera, and offer IP65 and IP68 water and dust resistance. Sony says it's safe to use them in the rain, or wash them a bit under tap water if absolutely needed, but they shouldn't be submerged fully, or exposed to seawater, chlorinated water, or drinks. The bezels have been reduced in order to make room for the new, 2:1 extra tall displays with FHD+ resolution and HDR support. Sony is making it very clear that its main goal here is entertainment. This is why we see features like X-Reality for mobile, which can not only pump up the picture, as before, but is now also tasked with up-converting content to reach near HDR level of dynamics. So, with the XZ2 and XZ2 Compact, you'll be able to both enjoy true HDR content, but also try to use the built-in processing features to make normal content look like HDR content. Just how well this feature is going to work remains to be seen. The screen of the Sony Xperia XZ2 comes in at 5.7 inches, while the XZ2 Compact is said to be the smallest 5 inches smartphone, but of course, this is partly due to the 2:1 aspect ratio of the display, and it's only based on width and height. The statement doesn't factor thickness in. An interesting new feature is the dynamic vibration system. In another move to enhance entertainment on the XZ2 and XZ2 Compact, the dynamic vibration system's goal is to analyze the audio output of the phone, while gaming or watching video, and add in some slight vibration sensations to make the experience more immersive. It sounds gimmicky, but may turn out to be a nice little extra. And speaking of entertainment and immersiveness, we can't ignore the fact that stereo speakers are again present on Sony's latest and greatest phones. Not only that, but the company says these are its loudest phone speakers ever, lovingly naming them as Force Front Surround. Both the Sony Xperia XZ2 and XZ2 Compact will come with the latest high-end Qualcomm chipset, the Snapdragon 845. There are many improvements found in the SD845, compared to last year's 835, the most notable of which being the new Cryo 385 CPU cores that now go up to 2.8 GHz, SD835 could do up to 2.45 GHz, as well as the considerably improved Adreno 640 graphics processor. It promises 30% faster graphics rendering, all while reducing its power requirements by 30%. Sounds like a win-win. Last but not least, the Snapdragon 845 found in the XZ2 and XZ2 Compact will prove beneficial for networking speeds as well. In addition to Wi-Fi speed improvements, it also features the new X20 TE modem, which is said to deliver up to 20% faster cellular data transfers in real-world usage. The cutting-edge Snapdragon 845 is just now entering the scene, so we're yet to see how it's going to perform in real life. One area in desperate need of an upgrade was the Adreno GPU, so hopefully the new Adreno 640 will help to close some of the gap between Snapdragon performance and that of Apple's A-series chips, as well as the Mali GPUs found in Samsung Exynos chipsets. One of the most interesting new features of the Sony Xperia XZ2 and XZ2 Compact resides in the camera department. It turns out, Sony's new top phones are the first ever to capture 4K HDR, high dynamic range, video, which is great, because you'll be able to enjoy them on the HDR screen of the phone, or on any other compatible HDR screen you may have around you. HDR video has a more dramatic look to it, preserving more details in both very dark and very bright areas of the picture. Sony is also upgrading the slow-motion video mode in the camera. It'll still allow for 960 frames per second footage, but this time at 1080p resolution, so the quality trade-off won't be very big. Finally, 3D Creator, which is an app in the XZ1 that allows users to scan objects or people's faces to create 3D objects out of, will not support the Xperia XZ2 and XZ2 Compact's front-facing cameras, allowing customers to easily create 3D scans of their own faces. While Sony hasn't shared official XZ2 and XZ2 Compact price information yet, it has revealed that both models will be released in March, which is very good news for users who plan on purchasing one. Still, we can try to make an educated guess about the price. Last year's Xperia XZ1, for example, launched with a price tag of $700, while the XZ1 Compact was sold for $600. The XZ2 and XZ2 Compact will probably end up somewhere around these price points, or slightly higher, considering the recent uptick in flagship smartphone prices. The new phones bring an all-new design, though you're probably more interested in the XZ2 and XZ2 Compact specs and features. As usual with Sony, there's little compromise to be found within the Xperia XZ2's spec sheet. If you're nitpicky, or just have great eyesight, you might object to the use of a full HD display, rather than the Quad HD that has become the norm on high-end phones. At least Sony has adopted the 18:9 design aspect, meaning the phones are actually narrower and easier to hold than their display size suggests. Basic specs include the use of Qualcomm's latest SoC, the Snapdragon 845, 4GB of RAM, and 64GB of storage. As always, Sony has pulled all stops in the media and camera departments. A few highlights include the use of a new haptic motor that is supposed to allow you to feel with your fingers what you hear with your eyes, dual stereo speakers, front-facing, and a DAC. Sony dropped the 3.5mm audio jack, which seems like a curious decision considering that Sony still sells tons of 3.5mm wired headphones. That said, the DAC inside the phone means you should be able to get high-quality sound with any dongle. Sony improved the super slow motion feature that it launched year. The XZ2 supports shooting 960 FPS slow motion in Full HD. You also get 4K 10-bit HDR video, which is a feature that is just arriving on mirrorless cameras. We really enjoyed the 3D Creator feature on the Xperia XZ1, and now Sony is bringing it to the Xperia XZ2 with an added twist. You can use the front-facing camera to scan your face and then turn into a neat little model of yourself. What do you think of the Sony Xperia XZ2 and Xperia XZ2 Compact? Are you impressed by this new Sony devices? Let us know your thoughts and comments. To discover more Android and mobile-related content, don't hesitate to subscribe to the S Sorrels channel.